Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us here as we update you on what's happening in the city of New Hope. I'm here with the mayor, Kathi Hemken. Welcome, Mayor, once again. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. I'm looking forward to spring.
I like the picture change there. We're back to a green look of the golf course. We'll talk about that a little bit later about what it looks like for golfers right now. But let's start with scattered site housing, an update on some of the properties around town. First to talk about is at the corner of 42nd and Boone. A couple properties there. How are those moving along?
So there's the north and the south house. The north house is actually just getting framed up this week. The south house is sold. They're going to close on that. Um, well, they did close on that on the 15th for 474,900. The builder actually contributed 12,000 to cut down the interest rate for the buyer. So that house is sold, and now they're going to start on the north house.
Next property, let's hop up to 50th Avenue. And again, a couple lots at that location as well. What is the latest there?
Well, that's exciting. We've got six potential builders for those two lots. Now, whether they'll go to one builder or two, we're not sure. We haven't seen them yet. We'll see them next week at the council meeting. But that's exciting that we have six potential builders in there.
And another property that's close to the finish is 3611 Louisiana. We've got some photos here of some of the yard work that's actually being done. So this one is pretty close to ready.
That is, they've got the north and the south fences up. They're going to close on that on the 30th of April. So most of these houses, as they build them, get sold pretty quickly.
And you wanted to just take a moment to give us a little update moving ahead. There are other houses that the city, I understand, is looking at this point.
They are. Part of the scattered site housing whole program is we've got to be able to get the house at a decent price. And we either tear it down. We don't want to tear down a good house. So if it's a decent house with good bones, we'll rehab that house and we will then put it on the market. Or if it really needs to come down, if it's not a very good house anymore, those we'll buy. There's really a small window of what we will buy. So we're evaluating a couple of them. We don't just willy-nilly go out and buy everything that comes available. We look very closely whether it makes sense, and we look at our return on investment for these houses.
All right, we'll keep residents up to date as those move ahead. Let's talk about the business networking group, opportunity for people in the area to get together with some business leaders and also hear a great topic. What's coming up?
Well, that's April 3rd. 8:30 in the morning. It'll be at New Hope City Hall. A guy by the name of Tony, who runs a business called Tony Goes There. He will drive you back and forth to the airport or just about anywhere you want to go. The other thing that's happening is Brandon Bell, who used to work for the city of New Hope, is now with Elevate Hennepin, and he'll talk about what Elevate Hennepin is and how it can help small businesses to succeed. So 8:30 on the 3rd.
Free event, and I understand some good pastries there. If you stop by, you can have a little something to eat as well. Let's move to the police department. A lot of activity happening off the streets and throughout the community as they stay in touch with others. And the first to talk about is safety camp, believe it or not. So this seems like a long ways away, but there's already planning going on. What are some of the thoughts going into this year?
There's a lot of work that goes into safety camp, and it runs so smoothly because we do a lot of this work ahead of time. So Officer Callio has been going to meetings on this. Safety camp, by the way, is going to be August 13th to 15th, and that's available to kids in the 3rd to 5th grade. You do have to sign up early because it gets filled up quickly. So it's in your book that you get from the Park and Rec Department, so you can see where to sign up and what the cost of that is.
And here is that booklet right here. So look for that cute little soccer picture. You can find out more about getting involved. And this is mostly for the young kids, but I understand there's something being talked about that might be a camp for some that are a little bit older.
Well, they're talking about a senior citizen safety camp. And this is just for seniors. And they will, it's in conjunction with the Park and Rec Department, Crystal, and our police department. So people get a little insight on the safety issues that seniors need to know about.
Right. All right. More to come as we hear more about that. The chief has been busy with the school district. Tell us about some of those ongoing meetings and discussions that are happening.
Well, there's something called the Safety and Security Committee with the school district. So our police chief has been meeting with them We want to get those SROs back in the school. We want to make sure that not only are the kids and the staff safe, but so are our officers.
We have the pleasure on occasion to meet up with police officers and Officer Callio in this instance with CCX Media to talk about some important things in the community. And he was talking distracted driving recently. What is his involvement with that?
Well, this is Distracted Driving Prevention Month, April.
Okay.
And not that we want you to be distracted in April if you're driving. So Officer Callio went to he did a CCX Media thing on that, and there's a link I'm sure that you'll show them. So we're out in the community as much as we can be.
Yeah, so take a look at ccxmedia.org. You can find that segment and learn a little bit more about those classes. Final note to talk about is the chief also intended a special dinner in Minneapolis, working with different cultural communities.
There's something called the Iftar dinner in Minneapolis, and he met with the Somali American Police Association to attend this dinner. The chief wants to make sure that he fully understands the people that live in this community, and just we can serve them better when he understands them.
Let's move ahead to Public Works, talk about a few things that happened. And the highlight this last week was the snow in a couple different ways. So they were out there, and that was a tough snow to deal with.
Oh, that sure was. It really didn't stop. And when they actually got these new snowplows out to plow the streets, part of the problem was they were plowing driveways closed, because it was just like cement. But I'm hoping they're done doing that. They put them away, they cleaned them up. Hopefully we won't have to use them again. Well, Public Works has also been doing other things. They put up a sign by Meadow Lake Park, the new pickleball courts that are open there. That's kind of exciting. Remind people about the Name the Snowplow contest. They have until the 12th of April to actually sign up for that. We had 6 people that were qualified as maintenance workers at Public Works. So all 6 of them did an equipment check, and 4 of them passed that. So now those 4 will go on the next step, the interview, and we'll have a maintenance worker probably by the end of the week.
Very good. And we'll have a few other staffing updates in just a minute for you. Let's move ahead to talk a little bit about some of the projects coming up this year. And you've got a big area that's going to be one of the big infrastructure projects. Again, remind us what that area is and what's going to be done.
The 2024 infrastructure project will be around J.C. Park area. It'll also be on 36th Avenue, 56th Avenue, and Xylon Avenues. So watch for that. Just remind people when there is road construction, they do not get assessed for that if they're a tax-paying property.
Another smaller project that's happening is actually a co-op project with the city of Crystal. Tell us how this can happen, that both cities come together on one street.
We do this a lot. There's a lot of our streets that are half Crystal, half New Hope. And it doesn't make any sense to do half a street when it's time to do that. So we collaborate with Crystal as much as we can, and we do those streets. So we're doing both sides of the street. It may not be in the infrastructure project for that particular year, but we try to just make amends where we can. So we're doing it the right way. We only have to do it once.
Let's move ahead to Park and Rec. A lot happening here, and we'll get to the golf course in just a second. But one of our most fun events to talk about is the Young Mudder, where people just have a blast in the mud. And I understand already discussions happening about that.
There is. That's going to take place on June 8th, by the way. And right now what we're doing is we're looking for volunteers to help with that. It takes a lot of folks to put that on so those kids can play in the mud and get hosed off. So if you're interested in volunteering for that, call Aaron Thielen in our Park and Rec department, and he can hook you up with the volunteers.
Let's talk softball. The season is coming up upon us very quickly here, and it sounds like the Women's League is getting things in order.
Well, one of our guys in Park and Rec coordinates all that, and he's been contacting the women's softball teams to get that league started. He gets them all registered, and then he has to schedule all of the times that they're going to play so that the fields are available. So he's busy doing that.
All right. And umpires, coaches, all of those good things happening right now. Let's talk trees for just a minute here. We've talked a lot about the emerald ash borer, and it's still going on, but also opportunities to plant some new trees. Tell us about trees in New Hope.
We're losing so many of them. It's just terrible. So they're still out there measuring to see if it's a boulevard tree or if it's in your yard. Of course, if it's a boulevard tree, the city will pay for and take that down. If it's in your yard, that's your responsibility. In the meantime, the trees that we have taken down, they're now getting a planting list. So if the tree has been taken down on your boulevard, you probably got a list of the trees. You could pick one. If you haven't picked one, do that pretty soon because he's scheduling when these plantings will happen in the spring. So he's busy doing that.
Busy time of the year for all. Busy time of the year at the golf course behind you. And we're going to talk about a couple of things they're doing right now related to golf carts and golf clubs. How is the golf course working around those two areas right now?
Well, sadly, the course is still closed.
Yes.
There's a little bit of snow left on the course, not a lot, but it's pretty soggy out there. I'm not sure they're going to open for the weekend, but you should call and check to see if they are open. Hopefully they will be. The other thing, we lease a bunch of golf carts, and I did ask them if we made any money doing that, and they said, oh, yes. So I'm not sure what that means exactly, but it's a profitable thing, and we do need those golf carts for people that need to get around. I'm sure that they will not let golf carts out on the course at least for another couple of weeks because it's just too wet.
Right.
The other thing I found out is they will re-grip your golf clubs for you. So as long as you can't play, if you think you're needing new grips on your clubs, bring them in and the guys will put new grips on them for you.
All right. Who would have known? They can help you out there. Over to the ice rink we go. How are things going on the North Rink as it's closed down to get some nice maintenance work on it?
It is. Well, we took the ice out and then after they got it all dried out, they painted the floor. Now they're waiting for it to cure. I don't think they're sitting there watching it cure, but it takes a couple of weeks to cure. And then in about the middle of April, they'll start putting the ice back on. Yeah, it sounds real simple, but it's not. It's a numerous process where they'll put a small layer of water on, it freezes. A couple days later, they put another one on. So it takes quite a while to get that ice back in there.
One other great recreation facility in the city is the aquatic park. And Mayor, you have some early numbers here of how people are getting excited about the season already.
Well, we're still looking for a few lifeguards. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you get that application into Park and Rec Department so we can get those lifeguards. They tell me that they have already sold 169 season passes and 371 people have signed up for the swim lessons. Just a little note, if you're looking for a birthday present for a child, that's a wonderful birthday present to give them a season pass to the pool. It's not that expensive, and the kids really enjoy it. Last year, by the way, we had 55,000 people go through that pool.
Amazing. A hot spot.
This year, it's probably going to be more because Crystal's not going to be open.
Exactly right. More people coming over to stay cool. One other note we want to pass along in our update this week from the finance department, something that you may not think about much, but the city does banking, just like most of us do banking as well. And you get some partnership through some of the banks. How does that work?
Well, we do a lot of banking through Wells Fargo, which is just right next door, basically. And they have an annual revenue share program, of which we got a check for $23,000 from Wells Fargo. Didn't know we did that. I thought that would be a good thing to share.
Very nice. All right. Human resources, a couple updates here. We've been talking about the accounting technician and police clerk positions. What update can you give us on that process?
Well, they've passed the HR board, the human resource board, and now they will be interviewing with the city manager in the next week or so.
And let's hop to the police office supervisor position. How is that moving along as well?
Well, according to the rules, you have to post it internally, and you have to get at least 2 qualified candidates internally to hire internally. If you don't, you have to go outside to hire. Well, we actually had 3 qualified candidates, and so now what they'll do is they'll interview those 3, and by the end of the week, we'll probably have a new police office supervisor.
Final notes we want to pass along are some of the things happening with communications, just keeping residents up to date. And the first is ways to get rid of some of that stuff that might have accumulated in your home over the winter. You've got a couple options for us, Mayor.
We do. Who has stuff accumulating over
we all
the winter?
do.
So this is going on from April 1st to April 11th. But I'm warning people, please don't put your stuff out just because it's April 1st. You should have gotten a postcard in the mail that tells you what day they'll be picking that up. They want it out by 7 in the morning. If you happen to miss that though, you can also always do the bulky or the special materials drop off. And that happens April 27th, and that'll be in Brooklyn Park at 8300 Noble from 8 in the morning till 3 at night. But it's better if you can do the bulky waste right outside your door.
Exactly. A couple of great ways to get cleaned up here as we head throughout the year. State of the city. We recently had you at the studio, and Reese as well, the city manager, to talk a little bit about the last year, which was a great year, and a little looking ahead. And there's many ways residents can see that now themselves.
Well, they can. Actually, you can go onto the New Hope website and get it there, or you can also go onto CCX's website and get it there. It's really kind of interesting to see all the stuff or listen to all the stuff that's happened and where we're going from here. It was a really good year. We're hoping to have a really good one coming up.
All right, take a chance to watch that if you would. Food drive, we want to give you a little recap here of the West Metro Fire Rescue District food drive. We talked about them being out at some stores a few weeks ago, and you've got some numbers, and these are impressive numbers.
Very impressive. So we were at the Hy-Vee and Olmsted's and I believe Cub. They raised, this was a couple of weeks ago, they raised about $3,000 in cash and 2,300 pounds of food. All of that goes to the food shelves. They've been doing this since 2011, and in that time, they've donated to the food shelves over $100,000 in food and cash. So they're really making a big difference. So thank you to everybody that's donated.
That is amazing. A couple final notes to pass along. You're looking for people to maybe step up and volunteer with the city in a couple different ways. How can people get involved?
Well, we have boards and commissions, and you can go online and get an application for one of our commissions. You just check the little box, fill that out, send it back in. Or if you don't want to go online, you can actually go into City Hall and get it and fill it out. Then what happens is the city council will interview you, and if it seems like you're going to be qualified, we'll put you on one of our commissions. It's a great way to learn how the city operates.
newhopemn.gov. You see the website there, ways to find out more about that. And we have one final note to pass along related to our friendly snow that we've had. And who is this little guy we're looking at, and what's going on here?
Well, if you remember, on the 2nd of February, the groundhog came out, and the groundhog said we would probably have an early spring. Well, we did until we didn't. And so he's got a little sign that said, I lied.
All right. We all know how it has gone over the last week or so, but hopefully we're done with it and we can get out to a little golf and activity out in the parks in the city of New Hope. Mayor, thanks once again for your time. And again, stick with us here. We've got a look at some of the things happening around the city in just a second. Mayor, have a great week. We will talk to you again next Monday.
Okay, thanks, Dave. See you then. Bye-bye.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.